I'm recognized Rep Sablan.
Thank you, chairs, and good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon.
Tesegui. So just a reminder, sir, you understand that you are still under oath,
Okay.
and you are proficient in English, correct?
Sini kasi no lo masuk comprendernya gi linguaje.
Mhm.
I understand better in my language.
Thank you, Chair. And what language did the review panel use during discussions of the Boost Grant applications?
Guanit Chamorro.
Sometimes it's in Chamorro.
Usually, what language?
Mix English dan Chamorro go munut Chamorro.
And what language did you use with Mr. Will Castro?
Chamorro okay.
Mr. Will Castro speaks
mix.
fluent Chamorro?
Oh, atu nga munut Chamorro si.
I'm asking you.
Ah,
Very fluent Chamorro?
appling.
Appling alludes to not really
Mhm.
fluent in.
So you sometimes spoke
language.
to him in English?
Guana biay.
Sometimes.
Mix.
Okay. And in exercising your right to speak Chamorro today,
Mm.
you are, of course, not trying to be difficult with the members of these committees who may be less fluent, are you?
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
No, answer's no.
And you're not trying to limit the ability of members of the media to understand you, are you?
Oh yeah.
Answer's no.
And you're not trying to limit the ability of members of the public who may not speak Chamorro and are listening today,
Oh
are
yeah.
you?
Answer's no.
And what about law enforcement authorities or investigators? Are you trying to limit their ability to understand your testimony today?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And you understand, right, that you are compelled to testify truthfully, whatever language you choose to speak today.
Unggan.
Thank you. Before Boost, sir, did you ever evaluate grant applications?
Oh yeah.
Never.
Yes.
Did you ever evaluate business plans?
Business plan. Guana ba ni manggejo business plan para ijoku no associates.
For your business associates?
Yes.
Sometimes I write business plans for my associates.
Okay. And was the Secretary of Commerce aware that you had no experience evaluating grant applications when he appointed you to do that for the Boost program?
Kiniki ijoku no duties and responsibilities as the economic development no director.
That is my part of my responsibilities as the economic development director.
But you had no previous experience looking at grants.
Tata ijoku no previous experience.
I have no previous experience.
Did any businesses submit their applications in Chamorro?
Oh yeah.
All of them were in English.
Unggan.
Okay. And you were able to evaluate them just fine.
Evaluate. To evaluate a business plan of a business plan.
The business plans in English, you were able to evaluate them.
Unggan.
Okay. So you are very proficient then. You've already stated that you did not keep any score sheets of your reviews of applications, correct?
Unggan.
Okay. And did you take any notes at all during your reviews of these applications?
Not that I recall.
You didn't write anything down.
Oh yeah, kasi.
Did you not think that it was important to keep any records at all for this program that is distributing public funds?
Kuha record makip.
Which
Which
records?
is in a record ilista ni manahon ulo para i-gobyerno.
In the list. But what about in your own review? That's the question.
Taza at kipo nino siya.
But you didn't think it was important to keep any records of how you're reviewing these applications?
I have no comment on that.
Why not?
I have no comment on that.
You don't have an answer? You don't know? What does that mean that you have no comment?
I have no comment.
Witness, I will direct you to answer the question.
Did you think it was important to keep notes, any notes at all, during your reviews of these applications for public funds?
Izoko role gwini para by reviewer. Sa by render izoko no
But that's
no
not the question,
discussion.
sir.
San no lokwe no para by u collectively arrive at a consensus.
I understand
Yeah.
that you said that before, Mr. Taisigui. The question is, did you think it was important to keep notes?
I have no comment on that.
I will direct you to answer the question.
That's a yes or no question, sir.
At the time ni review it's review i business plan. It's basically just reading it. Julie ko necessaryo na keep notes no put rason na scope is just to review, to engage in a discussion, and to arrive at a consensus. No,
At the time I was reviewing business plans and reading it, I did not see the need to take notes.
So the answer is no.
Muna rason ko na este business plan na is a proprietary no information. No, guaha siya na business plan, guaha siya na confidentiality statement na tidepi na po ma-share ho. Pues gilo eno na statement na how you to keep notes. Kung necessaryo na pa keep notes, to keep notes sa pod eno na rason a proprietary information gi business plan.
Are you going to translate that, Chair?
In business plans, there is proprietary information and it has a clause. Some of them have clauses that should not be divulged. The business plan should be not be divulged and should not be shared. And it is for that reason that I chose not to take notes.
Did anybody direct you not to take notes?
No.
No. Okay. So you mentioned earlier that there just wasn't enough time for everybody to review all the applications that the others were reviewing, right? So you didn't all review all the same applications, you and the other members of the panel. Is that correct?
Temano ileko gui na no kada no reviewer ni manually galo ni stack. Then we submit for discussion.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Then submit for discussion con todo recommendation.
So you reviewed some and recommended to the panel. Mr. Castro reviewed others and recommended to the panel.
Yes.
Mr. Atelig reviewed some and recommended to the panel.
Yes.
But you didn't all look at the same applications.
Yeah, in
Okay.
format.
Okay. And are you part of any chat groups? WhatsApp or any other chat group for the Boost program?
Yeah.
No?
Guaha no tigo sabi juga no chat.
So how did you usually communicate?
Telephone.
Just telephone. What about email?
Guaha lo email.
Okay.
No, masisi zu copy tayo no.
Okay. Now you also have said several times that the Boost program is not a stimulus like the other programs, right? That give everybody money, right? But it was also competitive, right?
I feel like competitive.
Is this grant program competitive? Were the applicants competing for money?
I would, I'll say no, yeah.
Yes or no?
Ngan.
Yes, okay. So because it was competitive, it was important to be fair, right? In the conduct of this program.
Ngan.
You would agree? Okay. And you said also that there's always room for improvement.
Ngan.
So let's go into that a little bit more. And these are just yes or no questions.
May I ask the witness to please speak into the microphone so you can be recorded properly? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, yes or no questions, Mr. Taisagui. Would it have improved the fairness of this program to have clear guidelines? Yes or no?
There's always room for improvement.
That's a yes or no question, sir. Would that have improved the fairness of this program?
There's always room for improvement.
Is that a yes?
There's always room for improvement.
May I please ask that the chairs direct the witness to answer the question? This is a yes or no question.
Witness, please answer with
Gusto
a
na
yes
chair
or no.
na muna timottuzo mo gid na bukaw na sa pot rason na in
This is
good
the reason why I
faith.
didn't come with a lawyer.
No, in good faith. Jangan siga estina is by exercises of Fifth Amendment.
You are exercising your Fifth Amendment right?
Exactly. Usang honest na there's room for improvement. Sige, usang honest na
I
answer
already told
yes
you
or
there
no.
was room for improvement. You keep telling me the same thing.
Would it have improved the fairness of this program, Mr. Taisagui, to have a rubric?
Unggan gwaha rubric.
Yes, there is a rubric.
A rubric that everybody used. Would that have improved the fairness of this program?
Gwaha rubric.
There is a rubric.
I understand that. But a rubric that everybody actually used. That is the question. Yes or no?
I would assume so na nigi po mausay na rubric imanagwaha.
Would it have improved the fairness of this program to have a record of your evaluations?
There's always room for improvement.
Is that a yes or a no?
There's always a room for improvement.
Are you pleading the fifth again?
Unggan.
Okay. Would it have improved the fairness of this program to announce caps on the maximum awards that people could apply for?
There was room for improvement.
Is that a yes or no, sir?
There's
It's a
always
yes or
room
no
for
question,
improvement.
Mr. Taisagui. It's a yes or no question.
Unsa nga nito pago gisenintek ko anesta malofan. Pues there is always room for improvement.
Are you pleading the fifth
Unggan.
for that question?
Unggan.
For that question as well?
Are you
Unggan.
pleading the fifth, Mr. Taisagui?
Unggan sa
You're
Usa nga-
pleading the fifth.
Thank
Is
you.
that correct?
unggan.
Mr. Taisagui, if you're gonna plead the fifth, then please mention on the record that you're
Oh,
pleading
okay,
the fifth.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm.
Mr. Taisagui, would it have improved the fairness of this program to be clear with the public about the actual amount of money available? for
There's always
Boost?
room for improvement.
And sir, are you pleading the fifth for that as well?
Diyan ginto naksepta i-answer ko niya ako pues by
Yeah.
plead the Fifth Amendment.
Okay.
I agree. I'm sorry.
May I proceed?
Yes.
And would it have improved the fairness of this program, Mr. Taisagui, to establish limits on how many awards could be given to the same person?
There will always be room for improvement.
Mr. Taisagui, I'm having a hard time understanding with that response. It's a yes or no question. I would like to direct you to answer the question with a yes or no.
Akeke i-question ko ini office sinintek ko na.
She's not asking you,
Asa nga afafaisin so
would it be
would
fair?
improve, would it be fair gisinintek ko na. Esta mo na dyan o deliver so
It is already passed. I've already delivered
kidoko no review.
my review.
Pues bago parang fafaisin so
And
office
then
sinintek ko na.
now you're asking me what I am feeling.
Inipik ko na gidago na.
My answer to you is
There's always room for improvement.
there is always room for
Mr.
improvement.
Taisagui,
Mm.
you have yourself said that the review process is not yet done, right? And when you also say that there's room for improvement, the purpose of these questions is to understand what you mean by that. So let's be very clear about that. My next
Well,
question, sir, would it have improved the fairness of this program
There will always be room for improvement.
to be clear about the actual amount of money available? And
There
to
will always be
establish limits on how
There will
many.
always be room for improvement.
Mr. Taisagui, are you pleading the fifth? If you are, you need to state for the record that I plead the fifth.
Okay.
You need to invoke your rights under the fifth.
Dangin accepta idoko no answer na.
If she
Dapat
doesn't
tasiga
accept
no
my answer,
no
and we will keep on.
Then you have to
Pues-
say so for the record, Mr. Taisagui. If you are
So
pleading the fifth.
by plead is okay Fifth Amendment.
Okay, so I plead the fifth.
So I will go on to the next question then.
First, Rep Tina,
Mhm.
thank you for that profound statement. I plead the fifth,
Mm.
which is what you stated right now. Is that correct?
Nga
You're
I
pleading
plead
the
the
fifth.
Fifth Amendment.
Because the only adverse conclusion one can derive from that is that if your answer was not incriminating, you would have no legal basis and no need to plead the fifth. You may continue, Rep Tina.
Thank you. Mr. Taisagui, would it have improved the fairness of this program to adhere to a deadline rather than extending multiple times?
Get on a question. But you agree in no law.
question I would agree to.
Umisyona ano.
I mentioned that
Jamas imasanganek ko na
based on what they told me.
guaha siya timang complete siya na aplikasyon.
There are incomplete applications.
So you agreed with extending the deadline?
It's
All three.
reasonable.
All 3 times you agreed?
Segundo na para extendi
The second time they were going to extend,
raise up tali question.
I again raised the question,
Ko guaha ko po na hong salapi sa siga ni Manolo.
would there be
No.
enough money?
I-respond ni masangoni jo na para guaha no infusion talo na salapi.
The response I got was that there would be an
Pues,
infusion of
reasonable
money.
ano talo.
So that's reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Because the answer to you was yes, that there would be more money.
Ungan.
Mr. Castro told you that?
Ungan.
And what about Secretary of Finance?
I say Mr. Castro.
Just Mr. Castro.
Mm.
Okay. And would it have improved the fairness of this program to wait for all the completed applications to come in by the deadline that was set by the review panel?
Tayo ano aliko na ti stimulus program este.
Just as I said, this is not a stimulus program.
Pues i-process kumintunua umano muna.
Process continued forward, moved forward.
I-review panel a continua sumugit sa
The
niya.
review panel
No.
continued to do their work
Until i-funds no ti available esta.
Mm-hmm.
Sa
Funds
nigi
are no
ma
longer available.
publika gibus webpage na i-application is subject to funds availability.
That is what is published
No.
on the Boost website.
Lokwe mapublika na i-program sinya ma-terminate without advance notice. No? Jagilo eno na posiga muna janging gwagwa pupulo. Gwagwa funds.
Would it have improved the fairness of this program to have actually reviewed and evaluated all of the completed applications by the deadline to identify the very best applications, the most unique business proposals from that pool, and how much money to award them at that point? Would that have improved the fairness of this program?
There would always room for improvement.
Is that a yes? Or is
There
that
would
a plead
always
the
be
fifth?
room for improvement na to improve, so there will always be room for improvement.
And for that question, are you also asserting your Fifth Amendment rights,
Tangin
Mr.
tiyo
Taisagui?
makomprended gi Joko answered, pues
I don't
bayo-
understand your
best
answer.
by plead the Fifth Amendment.
If we can't come to an understanding as to his answer, then he will plead the fifth.
And then just to clarify a couple of other things that you said about your role, Mr. Taisagui, you only reviewed the small business applications, not the farmer, fisher, rancher applications, correct?
Ginanchino.
And what about the nonprofits?
In non-profit ungan.
You did. So
Yes.
nonprofits and small businesses together. What about the workforce development program? No. Was that a different review panel?
Not to my knowledge.
Was there a review panel?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And are you still reviewing applications at this time?
Pausa tabia maagan no session para review.
There hasn't been a review session called yet.
When was the last time you met to have a session with the review panel?
I don't recall.
Was it like last month or this month? It's sometime in December.
I'll be guessing. So I don't recall.
Do you have a calendar that you can refer to?
Mr. Chairman, point of clarification.
State your point.
Mr. John Arroyo mentioned that you guys had a review panel meeting 2 weeks ago, which was on a Tuesday. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. It's just much in a reminder. Yeah.
Were you there for that review session, Mr.
Nga,
Tasigu?
nga.
So you recall 2 weeks
Yes.
ago,
Okay.
right? Because the latest round of boost applications came also about 2 weeks ago.
Nga. Paguna. It's
Booster
just much in
boards, I
a
should say.
reminder. Yeah.
Okay. So that was the most recent one,
Nga.
and there has been nothing since.
Not that I recall.
Thank you. I yield for this round, Mr. Chair.